are a pair of guys who high ceiling, really far away. You put all your roulette chips on on 30, on 28, and you see if it hits.
We're back on Foul Territory. We're live all day long here covering the trade deadline. JJ Cooper from Baseball America joining us, and he is going to be one of the stars of one of our shows later on, 6:30 Eastern time. So right after our show on YouTube, Baseball America will pop up with our weekly show Hot Sheet at a special time to go over all the prospect returns. JJ, great to see you. So we'll cover some of that now, and then we'll do the full-on review a little bit later on. I did want to start here because we talked about the tweet that BA put out there, or maybe in our YouTube chat. No top 100 prospects yet have been traded on Baseball America's list. One person was like, that's not true. Dylan Lesko got traded. I'm like, I don't think he's in their top 100 anymore. I think he fell off.
No, I mean, Dylan Lesko's not only not in the top 100, he's not just on the edge either. I mean, if you were talking about guys on the edge, Agustin Ramirez, who the Yankees traded last week, he's on the edge. You could make a top 100 argument for him. There are a couple others. Jake Bloss, you could make an argument. Connor Norby's not a top 100 guy now, but he's top 100 adjacent. But there are Robbie Snelling, who we just saw in this Marlins trade, is a guy who was in the top 100, but we still haven't seen a guy who's actually currently in the top 100 traded in any of these deals. It is kind of crazy that we're talking about the high price, and I do agree that there's been a high price in a lot of these deals, but at the same time, we are seeing teams hold on to their best prospects in every one of these moves.
All right, so let's go over the latest move, and it's quite a return in terms of how many names are going back to the Miami Marlins in this San Diego Padres acquisition of Tanner Scott. It is, let's see here, I got to get the names ready. Or if you have them, you can just run through them better than
Robbie
I can.
Snelling, Adam Mazur. I don't have it all in front of me. Graham Pauley. I think I might be forgetting one. But Snelling was our Baseball America minor league pitcher of the year last year. Great year last year in 2023. And not so great a year in 2024. Kind of is backed up. Stuff is backed up a little bit. Obviously, it's kind of a buy low kind of situation for the Marlins, but this is a guy who has been a premium prospect. So that's, kind of interesting. Mazur and Pauley, both are guys who have potential, but again, we're not talking about guys who are having great years in both cases. We're not talking about guys who, it's kind of a volume trade in some ways. If you have this many guys going who have shown flashes, you kind of hope that you're going to pop on a couple of these, but it's not something where any of these is a slam dunk top 50, top 75 prospect in the game.
And Jay Bashir, that's the last one. Sorry, Kratz. Jay Bashir's is the last one.
You're good. Maybe you said it and I missed it because I'm trying to follow a bunch of different things. Where's the Padres minor league system at? Because we're seeing, you just said number 3. Okay. All right. That's 3, 4, and 6, and 29th. So it's a hall of mediocrity.
So the Padres, give them all kind of credit. They have done an amazing job over the last few years of continually restocking as they keep trading away talent, over and over. I mean, we talk about that 2021 draft is an incredible draft, but it's an incredible draft where James Wood is now a National, Robert Gasser is now a Brewer, and River Ryan is now a Dodger. So they've done this where they draft really good talent and then they trade it away in moves. But this is the year where kind of a lot of that bill seems to be coming due. Ethan Salas is their best prospect, but he's hitting 200 in high A. He's really young, but you can't make a catcher who's hitting 200 in high A the cornerstone of a massive deal, even if he is younger than a lot of draftees in next year's draft. Leo DeVries is probably the one guy that their top international signing this year has been really good lately. That's one that is notable. But get past that, Snelling, Mazur, a lot of these guys haven't had great years. Talked to a couple of scouts about the Padres system because I did our midseason update on them, and by the time you get to about 15 on this list, you really start running out of guys. And when you look at it and say, who is the Padre other than DeVries who's had a good year in the minors, you kind of struggle to come up with a whole lot of names. So it is something where the Padres still managed to make a pretty impactful move, but this is from a system that's not as good as it used to be.
JJ, I do have a question because you mentioned Salas. That would be the name everyone talks about, but I just looked up his numbers. I didn't realize they were that bad. I mean, 197, 576 OPS, and this is in
He's 18 though.
18 in what league's he in?
Midwest.
I played
Midwest
in that
League.
league at 18. I didn't hit that bad.
Well, I think
No, when you were there, it was the Midwest League was low A. Now it's high A, so it's one level.
All right. Oh, okay. My
Yeah.
bad, JJ. Sorry. The next year I went to the next year. Sorry. I mean, come on. But still, for all the hype this guy got, and again, I'm not knocking on Ethan Salas, but damn. I mean, I expected to see a 240-ish, with at least a 700 OPS.
That's my point. You can't make that a cornerstone of a trade. If you're the GM saying, we got Ethan Salas back, and it's this guy's really young, and then you say, well, how's he hitting? It's he's not hitting this year, but he's really young. He's a good catcher defensively. It's not just it's kind of not a guy that's the cornerstone of a trade. And by the way, if you're the Padres trading him right now, if they offer him in a trade, you probably get scared right away because you're wait a second. This guy's clearly we're buying low on this guy because he's not hitting. So why are they offering him? So, yeah, I don't think the Padres have a whole lot to offer there, especially with a guy like Ethan Salas. You want to hold and see if he can bounce back from what's been a pretty disappointing year.
All right, JJ, as the resident White Sox ex-employee, what did they get back? What did they get back? The two guys that they got back, because nobody seems that high on them, and for give up 3 proven big leaguers, it seems like an odd return.
Yeah, I didn't say future manager because I saw you said that. I saw what you said yesterday on FT.
But you know what's funny though is even though I said that, people were like, "He's lying."
Yeah,
he's totally
liar.
Lying. Maybe I should play poker.
Maybe future owner. Who knows?
But no, the thing I think that complicated it is it was a 3-player deal. But let's just be honest. Tommy Pham doesn't have a whole lot of value in trade. If he did, he wouldn't have been available to sign with the White Sox on a minor league deal before the season. So, and Michael Kopech, as impressive as he's been, as hard as he's thrown, they're selling kind of low on him too. He really struggled last year, led the AL in walks. He struggled this year in the pen. The move to the pen hasn't really helped a ton. So those are 2 players that they traded that didn't have I think a ton of trade value. It is fair to say that when you look at Fedde and you look at the price of what they got for Fedde, the return in comparison to say Kikuchi, compared to what Trevor Rogers just got today, that seems a little low, especially because Fedde has a very reasonable deal next year. A lot of this depends on Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas was a top 100 prospect who's kind of bounced on and off the Dodgers roster the last couple of years. He hasn't shown enough at the plate to where they can comfortably just say, you're our guy. But it is the Dodgers. I mean, that was kind of true of Michael Busch, who was traded to the Cubs this year. And Michael Busch has had a very solid year for the Cubs, having been freed from kind of the logjam that is, often the case in LA. So you're hoping for that from Vargas. And the other 2 guys they got, Albertus and Alexander Albertus and Gerald Perez, are a pair of guys who high ceiling, really far away. You kind of that's where you're hoping that you put all your roulette chips on on 30 on 28, and you see if it hits. If it does, you're really going to pay off. But if you told me that both of those guys end up kind of flaming out along the way, that's often what happens to these guys in trades. So it's a lot about depending on whether Miguel Vargas blossoms in Chicago with the White Sox or not. The kind of frightening thing if you're a White Sox fan is there's not a whole lot else there, especially if, we'll see what happens with Crochet. But other than that, this is going to be a long slog. And I don't think that this trade has done a whole lot to really kind of change that in any way.
Yeah. And if the Dodgers were okay giving him up, I mean, I don't know. They never give up their blue chippers. I'm just saying, go back in the past and look at who have been superstars for them.
Well, they will. They'll give him up for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. Keibert Ruiz.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez for Josh
That
Fields.
was more of an accident.
Oh, don't do that, Scott.
O'Neal Cruz.
No. Or who?
O'Neal Cruz.
Understand, but for a top-end trade, wait. A top-end trade, they circle their 3 or 4 guys, and they usually hug them tightly, right? Jordan Alvarez was not a top prospect. The Astros identified a high upside player kind of before he blossomed, right?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what you're hoping. If you're the White Sox, your best hope here is that Gerald Perez or Alexander Albertus becomes one of those guys. because we are talking about guys who are 3-4 years away from the big leagues, and you are taking that big swing. Now, most of the time you're going to whiff on that, but once every 3-4 years, someone lands a Yordan Alvarez, someone lands an O'Neal Cruz. And if you're going to be picking from the high ceiling, high risk player pool, picking from the Dodgers is about as good as you can get, because no one does a better job of kind of finding and adding those guys, especially on the international market.
That's a good call. Well, all of this and much more with JJ coming up. We'll break down that Astros Blue Jays trade and anything else that goes down in the next couple hours. We'll talk to JJ on Baseball America Hot Sheet on the Baseball America YouTube channel. It'll run right after this show if you're watching on YouTube. JJ, thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
See you in a few.
Yes, see you in a few.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.